the wheel.
Yeah,
and,
there's none.
Just not.
None whatsoever.
And,
how have we been? Has this been a terrible year? Have we had a good year this year so far through the summer, or how are things going at this point in time with the accidents?
This year, our stats this year are a little above what they were last year at this point in time. So it's actually on an increase. And just for an example, and I'll just play a little bit with Williams County numbers, bring it real home local for you. In 2015, in Williams County, there were 184 OVI arrests. Okay. In 2015, it went down. We said, okay, great, 149 total OVI arrests in Williams County alone. In 2017, it was back up to 172. So that's like one every other day if you want to play it that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of them were going to be a little bit more on the weekends, but it doesn't make a difference what time of day it is either. It's the OVI when we talk about operating a vehicle impaired. We are talking about with prescription meds. We're talking about drugs. We're talking about alcohol. All of that. So when you drive sober, you need to drive sober of all of those things.
Yes. Yeah.
And statewide stats, Jim, like in 2017, there were 14,387 OVI-related crashes. Out of that, 397 deaths occurred. That's statewide.
Wow.
So, and with Williams County being a lesser population, it's not as high up here as down around the metro areas of Cincinnati, Cleveland, or Columbus. But there is still a problem. We have local people still getting hurt and killed because of someone that made a bad choice.
Yeah. Oh boy, and there's no doubt about that. One of the things I wanted to question you guys about a little bit. I know we have testing now for alcohol. Okay, you can blow in a tube and we can find out whether you're sober or you're not sober. How hard is it though still to deal with somebody who might be smoking pot, on prescription painkillers, whatever it might be? There's no test for that at this point in time, is there, or is there? Am I not aware?
Actually, there are. We're working on right now. There are tests where we can get those type of levels and things for people, whether what kind of drugs are on and what kind of drugs, and nanograms per se of marijuana and things that the bill in the state. Let me rephrase that. The way that the law reads, over a certain amount of nanograms will put you over driving impaired of marijuana. All right, so anything over 200 nanograms is driving impaired in the law's eyes.
Okay.
Now, when it comes down to that, we have there's new. Mike, help me out. What's the name? Our the DRE program.
You've been hanging around these.
Sorry,
Bob,
I know.
It's all my fault. I'll
It's
take
your
the
fault.
entire
All
blame
right.
for it. And Eric and these guys can tell you, anybody that hangs out with me for any length of time gets my same forgetfulness.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
rub off on you. So
the acronym escaped me, but it's the DRE program, which is Drug Recognition Expert.
Okay.
To where we have sent troopers, and there's police officers throughout the state and now throughout the country, and we're working on improving that more and more for the drug recognition expert, for someone to be able to walk someone through field sobriety, to look at all sorts of things and figure out exactly if they're impaired or not impaired, and obviously, and also what kind of drugs that they may be on, whether it's stimulants, depressants, all of that comes into play, to where then they can go and testify in court as to what their observations were.
Sure.
A urine test and a blood test will show the level of level of what there may be in their system, and help substantiate that drug or drug driving arrest at that point in time. So it's really gotten more involved, and they are working right now on I want to say like a field sobriety test, or like a portable test that we will be able to. It's coming soon. It's not out right now in the state, but they're working on bringing it forward. Whether it's like a litmus test, to where they'll actually swab in the mouth a little bit and see where we can go to get some sort of recognition about what's in there, to make it a lot simpler process to see if someone is possibly impaired, that we can start moving forward with the proper procedures.
Yeah. I had heard a little bit about that there was going to be a field test coming.
Right.
But I wasn't sure where it was at this point in time. So we are getting close.
And we're getting close. We're getting closer, yes.
And
I don't have a time frame, but we are getting closer.
And an awful lot of people worry a little bit about about being tested, okay? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm right there. I wasn't that drunk. I was doing just fine, okay?
Right.
But I can tell you that it seems like the breathalyzers and the tests that you guys have come up with nowadays are very, very accurate, very, very fair. And if you are under the threshold, it will show that way. And if you're over the threshold, it will show that as well. As I get my morning call from somebody. How's that? I forgot to turn that one off. But really, it is. These things are very, very accurate nowadays. So for folks who worry a little bit about that, and then would maybe fight back or push back a little bit and say, man, I'm so-and-so and I've got this responsibility and I don't want this crazy test to show something that it shouldn't. You guys have been working with it for quite a while. You're very comfortable with it, are you not?
We are very comfortable with it. It's the scientific methods. Obviously, we're not the scientists that develop it. However, the testing 99.9% of the time reveals exactly what we feel was going on through our training and experience of what's happening.
Yeah, no doubt. Peg, let's go back to the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over campaign as it stands here in Williams County. What are some of the things that we're going to see happening over the course of the next couple of weeks? First of all, when does it start? How long does it go?
Well, appreciate that, Jim. Our Drive Sober campaign actually starts officially on the 15th of this month, so just this week. So we are kicking it off with this program today, so we appreciate that opportunity. Again, coming together with the Safe Communities Coalition, the joint efforts to just get information out. Social media is one avenue that we surely do through the Williams County Health Department. We ask people to like our page and take a look there. We do have a lot of information that comes out through social media. Obviously, our newspapers. This radio broadcast is a great way to get the news out, make people aware. I mean, obviously, this is not just a 2-week time period that we need to think about don't drink and drive. I mean, this is something that we need to think about all the time. From Safe Communities, this is the educational portion. Like Lieutenant said, the enforcement end is there. Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT down in Bowling Green is where we work with our engineers there. The engineering, we have our local ODOT here in Montpelier. So just the awareness, we do have out the electronic message boards will be out, reminding people not to drink and drive. So that's another way to be aware. The number of deaths that are on the board already in regards to drunk driving, those things will be out there. And just getting the information out to people and again, giving them some things to think about as far as alternatives. It's not so much, like I said, you can't have a good time, but obviously you need to be responsible. I mean, even whether you're at that .08 level in regards to legally drunk, even at .02, your vision is affected, your judgment is affected. So buzz driving is drunk driving. And so in that respect, get a designated driver or know where you're going to, have a plan in place before you actually go out and have that party. So it really is being responsible, and really knowing that what you do affects the lives of many people. And so just being aware that don't drink and drive. It's a pretty simple message, but sometimes it's hard to live that, and you just have to be intentional about it and say, hey, I'm not going to be that person, and make sure you just get some help.
Yeah, Bob, what are the limitations? I mean, when I blow into the tube, where are we at nowadays? Do I need to be at a point? Where am I?
The per se level within the state and within and that's all 50 states now within the country is .08. Okay. Once you're over the .08, you are considered impaired driving. Some people, depending on the situation, might be a little bit lower if they've got other things, other drugs and stuff put in there as well. Blood thinners, things on that order, are going to affect your. And just for one example, that's going to affect some of that through that process, but the legal parameters of it is .08 for alcohol.
And that's become now a nationwide standard.
That is a nationwide standard.
Which was good too, because at one point in time that fluctuated from state to state.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a great idea. It's been a while since they really started to put that together. Are you comfortable with that .08
Absolutely.
number?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are comfortable with that. I mean, years ago it was .10.
Yeah.
At that point, they lowered it a little bit, and it's at .08 is impaired.
Yeah.
Is impaired. We knew that back in 01 with the .1, but we couldn't do anything about it. And between the state legislation and the federal legislation pushed through, when things were brought forward to them to show them what these impairment levels do, they conceded with it and brought it down.
Sounds good. I have with me right now Peg Buddha, who is Safe Communities Coordinator for Williams County. Also with me is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder and Sergeant Mike McLean. We need to step away and pay some bills here on the queue. When we come back, we're going to get a little more in depth into the drive sober or get pulled over movement that's going on right now and the program that's going for the next 3 weeks here in Williams County.
Area, Elwood Staffing will be
Rufus here on the Q96.5 FM, 1028 right now, and we are talking with Peg Budon. Am I good there, Peg?
You're great. Thanks, Jim.
At times, you know, with me, I don't even remember my own name most of the time. And so to get them all wrong at times is just the way that I am. Safe Communities Coordinator with Williams County. Also with us right now is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder and also Sergeant Mike McLean from the Ohio Highway Patrol. Peg, let's talk about how does this program, you know, fit in with statewide and even a national level of drive sober or get pulled over when you have a Safe Communities program like this?
I think what we need to really remember that, you know, traffic crash injuries and fatalities, it's really one of the most overlooked public health issues that we have today. And sometimes we don't think about it as a public health. But when you think about the amount of work that's lost because of drunk driving, the total expenses that it costs in regards for crashes, to all of our first responders, the amount of effort and money that goes into addressing these issues that are on our road, it does affect a lot of people. And so really appreciate the opportunity to be here today just to talk a little bit about what we can do collectively as a coalition. And that's really the Williams County Coalition, our Williams County Safe Communities Coalition out of the Health Department. We have a coalition where we join together with our law enforcement agencies, the Williams County Sheriff, our local police departments, the Williams County EMA, there, the 911 communications, our emergency medical system. You know, the people come together. We do this quarterly. We have a quarterly meeting, and then also discussing ways that we can address traffic safety issues here in Williams County. And we do then look at, we have a fatal data review of crashes that have happened in the quarter before, see if there's any way we can make some changes, whether it's in road signage or the actual enforcement of the law that would be in place there that might have been violated. Different ways that we can address that through education and come together and look for countermeasures to help make our community safer. And so that joint effort really is a big key factor of what the coalition's about. And we do have other community members that are involved. The hospital, community hospitals, wellness centers have been helpful there too, giving us good data through the emergency room. And really, it has just been a very, very collective thing that not just Williams County Safe Communities, but it is the coalition that we really are talking about today. Yeah. And so specifically, as we go into Labor Day weekend, I'm looking at the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign and starting here this week. And so just really wanting people to know that, you know, the message is, you know, drive sober or get pulled over. The bottom line is don't drink and drive. And that just is the bottom line.
Yeah, that's very important. Bob, let's talk a little bit about Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. That's a program. That's kind of a new slogan. It's not been with us for long. It's been a few years now, and more than likely now it's been 15. Now that I say that, okay.
Probably about what it's been.
Okay, but it is a program. You know, why to get started, and why the slogan like that? Why do you use something like that?
We like the catchphrase to be able to make it stick in people's minds, and you know, the logo itself has an officer with it, and it kind of with the hat represents an officer. Drive sober or get pulled over. Basically, we want you to think, if you're even thinking about getting behind that wheel, the first thing, and you've had something to drink, what we want you to think about is, okay, well, we don't want you to have to get to that, but we want you to think about law enforcement's going to be out there. We're out there looking for you because we want to make sure that you get home safe. And regardless of what you do to yourself, we want to make sure that we're protecting everybody else for the actions that you are partaking in at this point in time.
No doubt.
There is no place you'd rather see. There's no place you'd rather see me than at your door. All right, at the side of the road when I've pulled you over. That's really where you want to see me. I always ask people that, hey, where's the last place you want to see me? And they go, well, I don't want to see you at my door, at my window of my car. Sure. I'm like, no, that's where you want to see me because I'm here to help you correct behavior of something we observed. Where you don't want to see me is on your front porch telling your loved ones you're not coming home or telling your loved ones that someone else is not coming home tonight because of actions that someone did.
No doubt about that.
So that is the worst. That is the worst part of our job, and that is the part I want to set home with people for this.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk about the statistics around our area, guys. How many fatalities do we have around Northwest Ohio? I always consider, you know, Williams, Henry, Fulton, Paulding counties, all of our Defiance counties is our backyard. You know, how does it work around here? Who's the safest? Where's the most dangerous spot to drive? I guess in Northwest Ohio.
You know, go ahead.
Well,
Mike.
for 2017, Jim, this is District 1 encompasses pretty much of all Northwest Ohio.
Okay.
And if we throw those numbers at you, you know, of course, the total district for alcohol-involved crashes for 2017 was 1,198, almost 1,200 crashes.
Wow.
And out of that, of course, Lucas County had the majority of those because the population, and with that, you see a spike in that. But as far as it goes, the lesser the population, the lesser number of crashes.
Sure.
So for district-wide, though, it was about 1,200 last year,
Wow.
alcohol-related crashes.
That's
Yes.
you know that's a lot of crashes that are alcohol related or alcohol or drug, I guess, related to some sort of impairment situation.
Absolutely.
County by county, guys. I mean, how are we doing with that? How do we have those numbers with us here today?
Williams County for the traffic crashes themselves, OVI related. Williams County last year in 2017 was 39.
Okay.
Fulton County was 51.
Okay.
Henry County was 40. Defiance was 46. Paulding was 32. Putnam was 29. Van Wert was 26.
Okay.
Now we get into Allen County down around Lima, and we're looking at 169. All right. Now Wood County 136, and then Lucas County was 508. Hancock County was 87, and Hardin was 36. Now, if you look at those numbers and you compare them to the population, really the averages are about the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
So
right? And it's not a unique problem. There's a percentage of the people out there that are doing this that get themselves hurt and or injured, or even worse, and it just all really comes down to the population itself as
Yeah.
to what it is. But the percentages are the same.
that's amazing. Now, the one thing that you guys talked a little bit about off of Mike here today too is, and this is mind-numbing to me, the number of people that still aren't wearing seatbelts. Okay, that are involved in these crashes. Mike, you want to take that on?
Yeah, the seatbelt law has been around since 1986, and I'm stating my age here, but I graduated in 1986.
There you
and
go.
Of course, as a senior or graduating, I didn't think much of the seatbelt usage back then because at that time they're making me wear it. I don't want to wear it, but then I came on the division in 1990. I see it does make a difference.
Yeah.
There's just things, and I stated this before. I've never unbelted a dead person. But it definitely does make a difference. And there again, that's a conscious choice. And it doesn't matter if you're going a mile down the road or 100 feet down the road or if you're going across the state. It's the conscious effort of getting in that car, and it becomes a habit now, especially with us. We're required to wear it. I wouldn't leave home without it.
Yeah.
You know, and my kids doubly get it because my wife's a state trooper as well. So they're really, they've heard it from
both sides,
yes.
mom and dad.
Yeah.
Boy, they didn't have a chance.
And 3 of them are driving, and as
Okay.
soon as they get in the car, it's been preached to them. It's a habit for them now.
Well, it's you know what, I think it's a habit for most of us. I grew up. I'm 64 years old. So when I grew up, they tossed you in the back window. Okay, along
Been
with
there.
your brother. You guys
Been there.
may have been there too.
Right.
in
Been
a
there,
great
right?
big old car. Okay, no belts, no nothing. If they hit the brakes real hard, you came flying out, hit the back of the seat, ended up in the wheel well there of the back seat, and you got up and you learned your lesson, and you didn't stay up there anymore. But I can't imagine not putting a belt on at this point in time. It is second nature for me. And you know, basically, Bob, you were saying too that there's a huge number of these fatalities that still these folks don't have their seatbelts on.
Statewide, the average is about 56%
Okay.
of people being unbelted in a fatal crash. All right. Now, with that 56%, you could take a lot of things with that, and people, if they were wearing it, how many of them would still be alive?
Sure.
All right. The cars and the engineering of the new cars these days are a lot different than they were back in the 60s and 70s when we grew up.
Yep.
So these things are made to, the seatbelt is an integral part of the safety mechanisms of these cars. So that seatbelt is designed to keep you in that seat while everything else around that car dissipates and goes away. Now, the car can't help you if you're not seatbelted in, and you strike something else, you're going to be ejected out the windows. All right, we see it all the time. You're going to go out the windows, you're going to go out the windshield, you're going to go out the sunroof. However, you will exit that vehicle just on the kinetic laws of inertia. You are just going to go. And with that, your chances of surviving are slim to none. Now, if you can keep that seatbelt on, stay within that front seat or stay within that back seat of that car, everything around it peels off anymore. It's almost like NASCAR was years ago. You watch it hit, and the driver comes out. Now they took a lot of that engineering and moved that into today's cars, and it's very important to stay in the interior passenger compartment of that car to protect yourself. Now, with that and wearing the safety belt's the easiest thing you can do to protect yourself, your family, and your friends. So you really should get on that and do that. From 2014 to 2016, more than half of the people killed in Ohio's roadways were not wearing their safety belts, all right, which goes right along with today's numbers as well. We're at 56% right now. Fatal crashes are deceased without their seat belts. The National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration estimates 409 lives were saved in Ohio, and 14,668 were saved nationwide in 2016 as a direct result of the motorists buckling up. Now, these are the most current numbers we have right now coming out of the national stats. Using your safety belt remains the single most effective thing you can do to protect yourself in a crash. Now, with that, I would like to hit upon something right here, local in Williams County. Right now, Williams County, we have 9 traffic deaths in this county for this year of 2018 since January 1. Those numbers are astronomical. Okay, that is an increase plus 6 over we were completely last year. All right, for the entire year last year. For the entire year.
Peg, we had 3 last year entirely. Is that what we're
at this time this year, we
okay.
were plus 6 this time, but there were 4 crashes last year.
So
fatal
crashes last year. We've already had 9 at this point in time.
We have 9 deaths this time at this point in time. Now, with that being said, 71% of those deceased in those crashes were not wearing their safety belts.
Wow.
Okay, so that this does not correlate. It does correlate. Correlates the stats. You're not going to wear it. There's a good chance you're going to die if you're involved in a motor vehicle crash.
Yeah.
So you need to keep that safety belt on. We're out here trying to enforce that as much as possible. Every time we see you. You're not wearing that belt. You can count on. We're going to come looking for you. We're going to try to make you and change your behavior to put that seat belt on. All I want is voluntary compliance. I don't want you to, when you see me, think about putting it on. I want you to put it on before you get in that car, before you put the thing in gear, before you drive out of the driveway. I don't care if you're going down the street 1 block. I don't care if you're going across the county or you're going across the state. Put it on. Buckle up every time.
Yeah. The question I've always wanted to ask a state trooper right now, so I'm going to ask it right now because you know how many people that you guys see aren't wearing the belt. Okay, they've got it propped somehow so that you kind of think they are maybe, or they think you think they are, or you see them pulling it as they see you. I mean, there's no way of hiding this stuff. You guys can see this. You can tell whether I'm belted or not as they're coming towards you. Can you not?
We can see. We're trained. This is what we do for a living. So everybody that does anything for a living for a long period of time, you know your job inside out. You know that board. I'm sitting here looking at all your computers and all your mics. No idea. Your engineer was laughing that maybe the DJ doesn't know all of it. I know even less than that. Now, when you get me behind the wheel of a cruiser and the things that I do day in and day out, we're out here looking at license plates. We're looking at people's driving behaviors. We're looking at people when if they're pulled over to the side of the road looking for disabled vehicles all the time. We're looking for people not wearing their safety belts. We're looking for those traffic violations to get those people off the road. And we do it so much, and it's so ingrained on us. We've actually had stories to where sometimes we might be on a family vacation. We're traveling down the highway, maybe we're going to Florida, and the family's in the car, and we instinctively start to pull over maybe on the berm to go help a disabled motorist. Okay, because we're constantly paying attention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Is this a fair statement, Mike?
Fair statement.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
We're like, nope, we're not on duty. We have no lights. We can't do that. We're traveling. So most of us will pick up the phone at that point in time through our Bluetooth and call the post and make sure we call somebody in to get somebody out there to help them.
No doubt about that. All right. Will there be any, for the next 3 weeks, we have our Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over program. From a state patrol aspect, will there be changes in the way that you guys look at drivers for the next 3 weeks? Will there be more enforcements out there on the road? How will that all work?
Obviously, this is something, just like we ingrain in the general public. These are awareness campaigns to get this message out here. I'm going to constantly be drilling it in my sergeant's heads to be able to put into the troopers' heads. Be aware, we're working this again. Even though we work it every day, this one is going to take the firstmost and foremost frontage for the next 3 weeks. So, and it all comes into play because we're always looking for seatbelts. We want people to wear their seatbelts. We want people not to drink and drive. We want people to text and drive. We want to watch out for the motorcycles and make sure they're obeying the laws and people aren't pulling out in front of them. All of that stuff. So, and that is a constant message with us as to what we're doing, and we just try to bring it home, because everybody gets caught up in the things of their jobs. So right now, for the next 3 weeks, is the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over campaign, and there will be a great emphasis on it. And there is overtime that will be posted so that we have extra enforcements out for this particular violation. Am I missing anything, Mike?
No, you covered it all.
Okay.
I think we got it all taken care of. Well, guys, I tell you, I appreciate all the things that you do. Sergeant Mike McLean and also Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder, thanks for being part of this today. Thanks for all the for keeping your eyes open and keeping us safe out there every day on the roadways.
Thanks for
you,
having
Jim.
us. Thanks for having us in, Jim. Without your partnership too, we wouldn't be able to do it with what we're doing, and Peg's as well. It's the community itself coming together to help get the message out.
We're going to bring this home basically with a very local story that most people I think are aware of, and we're going to get into it when we come back here in the Q, 96.5 FM.
I'm Dave James in the Ohio News.
All right, good job, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Meyer could be wrapped up this week. Governor Scott Light has more. Investigators are looking into what Coach Meyer made out of 2000.
Now you're ready to get the heck out of here.
It's all good.
All right, thank you guys. Anything we can do to help? Thank you, sir. You know how to get a hold of me? You
Absolutely.
got my phone number and everything?
I believe you got a business card or
You
something.
got a business
I think I do.
card.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it very much.
We got
Time for the fair too. I'm gonna be posted too for you today.
Great.
So we'll be somebody up there.
You got my dates and everything?
Yes,
so,
yep,
okay,
got everything.
All right.
It was for Youth Day on the September.
Day, yeah.
Make sure that goes.
Yeah, Monday,
everything.
and then we have Labor Day up there at Hudson Level.
That's right.
Yeah, super. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Hey guys, are you ready?
No, let's do
Okay.
Another reason trying to get somebody up there every once in a while.
40-year-old Matthew Matheny, Thursday
I
morning.
appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be there, and so we'll work what
Matheny is from Warren in northeast Ohio. A sheriff's deputy found that
Yeah,
all
thanks
the
for coming out.
civilians out back at the
So I
trailhead
had to do it
had no signs of questions. Authorities in Cleveland say 17 people, including
Thanks again,
11
Mike.
children,
Good seeing you
were
again.
injured in a crash involving 3 vehicles yesterday.
So are we looking all right?
Critical condition. All the kids were in stable condition. The investigation into that crash
I'm sorry.
continues.
You know, that was the weirdest thing.
It was about 1:15. KB goes, what else do we have this week? He said, there's something going on this week. And I went, oh my God, it's today.
Well, that was one of those things that that last phone call sometimes you don't make, and
Well,
it's like, oh shoot, I should have
No,
tuned in with you.
when we had on the counter, I talked to you on the way down, the ads there and everything. That week was just a nuts.
All right, guys,
These
pick out
two
whichever
here
uncomfortable chair
the ones that
looks the
spoke,
most
so
comfortable
you
for you.
Pick up there.
When we ran previous years, that way at least it was out there.
Yeah, it was good. I appreciated that. You guys had to wait up a long time. Sorry to make you be here the whole time.
That's all right, I'm not at work, so I'm good. I have to go.
Now, what's the other here?
SchneiderJobs.com. Live today to find
All right,
driving
guys.
jobs near you. Or
Commercials and we're back at it. How's that?
to 28000.
Doing a good job, Jim. I appreciate it.
SchneiderJobs.com or
Thanks, Dave, for trying.
I should ask them the statistics for 2013.
Oh, well, I have a couple here. I don't know.
Think about that. I tried Googling it, but it didn't work.
Let's see.
Yeah.
We go back that far?
Yeah, I've got some here for total deaths was 4 that year, so your son would have been one of those. OBI crashes too. 50% of them were OBI crashes.
I will remember that, man.
No we've been.
They got people coming.
Fortunately, our motorcycle has not been. You hate to say things,
All right, guys, here we go.
This is Andy Briggle inviting you to be tuned in starting September 1st. It's Michigan football on Q96.5. That's right, we are your voice of Wolverines football. It all begins with Michigan traveling to Notre Dame. Saturday,
actually
September
had
1st. Michigan football. on
Kim spoke at our mock crash
Q96.5.
this year for our teens.
And we're back here to wrap things up to the top of the hour here with Peg Buda, with the Safe Communities Coordinator for Williams County. And we have now with us Kim and Kevin Oxender who have joined us. And we're going to bring this one a little bit closer to home and maybe give you a little feel for what it's like to get that call or that visit from a state trooper when you have a night that you'd all like to remember and like to change just a little bit. Guys, welcome in. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Kim, I guess, I don't know, either one of you want to start, because I think awful lot of people have heard of the name Caleb McLaughlin around this area. There are things that go on. In fact, recently we had a big motorcycle ride that went throughout the area and everything, but let's go back to that story. Let's set things up. When did this all happen?
Well, about 5 years ago, it was 5 years ago, it was a normal night. Normal day, like any other day. We got up for work, and it was about 3:20 in the morning. We got a phone call from my other son, absolutely frantic. They couldn't find his brother. He'd been in an accident. Kim was getting around for work. I was getting around. I thought, well, I'll go out and see what's going on. Figured he'd been in a ditch or something happened. We really didn't know what was going on, and so I took off for his trailer, about 2 miles from our place in Pioneer. And the closer I got, the more lights I seen. I went, oh, this is not good. It'll be all right. He's wrecked cars before. It's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right. Then I pulled up, and the fire chief and my brother and a group of officers met me at my truck, and they couldn't talk. And excuse me.
Yeah, it's okay. Take your time.
Still a little raw.
No, you know what? I cannot imagine if I would have lost a son. I don't think that I'll ever get over or would ever get over.
You
It doesn't
don't.
matter. It's going to be raw forever. I would think. Yeah.
They met me at the truck and just kept saying it's not good, it's not good. And I could see Caleb had just gotten a new truck. He had it about a month, and I could see it laying on its side, and it was destroyed. I seen the pole hanging, and I went, oh, he's hurt bad. And I kept looking at Chief Fackler from Pioneer and my brother, and I said, tell me, where is he? I seen the ambulance sitting there, and they wouldn't let me go down to it. And he said, no, it's not good. He didn't make it. And I said, he didn't make what? Didn't make the corner, didn't make the turn?
Yeah.
What? And he goes, no, he didn't make it. That was a whole different reality.
Yeah.
After that, it was kind of a blur. I can remember calling our pastor. And then when Kim got there,
Actually, I didn't know yet when I got there.
yeah, she did not know. I kept trying to get a hold of her. She did not know. My brother had told her when she pulled in and they got us all together. But that is a phone call that no parent wants to receive.
Yeah.
That is a visit you don't want to make.
Yeah.
And that started probably the longest week of our lives.
Yeah. Oh, I bet so. I bet so. Now, give me the details a little bit. What had happened? How did he get into this situation? Why did the accident occur?
Caleb was drinking. He was out with his buddies, and he was drinking, and he was too drunk to drive. He had a designated driver. That driver was not impaired, but had a couple of drinks.
Okay.
And point blank, they just lost it.
Yeah.
Going too fast, made some bad. That's when it occurred.
Yeah.
If I can encourage anybody, just make a phone call.
Yeah.
Just call.
Yeah. Because even in his case, he thought maybe in his state that he had done the right thing, getting somebody who wasn't as drunk as what he was, okay,
Right.
to deal with this. And we're not saying that the person that was driving necessarily was totally impaired.
No.
But obviously, there was speed involved. You
Yep.
told me that they estimated it was 90 miles an hour or more that they
Yes.
were driving when they went off the road and turned over and hit that pole. So you had somebody driving behind the wheel who really wasn't thinking all that clearly, because this was where? Where was the accident at?
About 1/8 of a mile from his trailer.
County Road.
County Road. On the county road right outside of Kunkel.
Okay. So 90 miles an hour, I'm sure, is not the posted speed limit for that road heading back to his house. Okay. So even though he made the choice to try to get somebody else to drive for him, unfortunately, that person made some real bad decisions at that time and basically There was a girlfriend, I think, and is she okay? Was she all right?
She's fine. She was slightly injured in the accident, and is okay.
Yeah. But nobody can be okay after that, I can't imagine. Okay, if mom and dad aren't okay with the whole process, and to have lived through that and worked through that at that point in time, I've got to believe that's something she'll carry for the rest of her life as well. You know?
Yes.
It affects everybody. Caleb's friends, his girlfriend, his siblings, his parents. It affects everybody.
Yeah, it really does. And again, I really appreciate your coming in to talk to us today, because we really need to bring this home, Pat, don't we? I mean, that's the reason for this Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. That's the reason why the county and the state troopers are all involved with this, is a story like this one that just absolutely, I can't even imagine. I've got goosebumps right now, and it's not my child that I lost, but that's the reason for all this, isn't it?
Well, definitely, Jim, and we are very appreciative of just the courage that this couple displays to share this story, in hopes that someone out there will hear it and really hear it and take it to heart and not drink and drive. I mean, when it comes down to it, decision not to drink and drive really shouldn't be a tough one. It is illegal; it's against the law.
Sure.
But sometimes we make mistakes, and those mistakes. Sometimes we get away with those mistakes, and sometimes we don't, and it does impact our whole community. When they were sharing, the family, it goes out to the family's friends, it goes out to the community in large, and it really does impact everybody. And so it's not just about one person dying; it's really a loss to the whole community. And we don't know what Caleb would be doing today, but just know that he would be creating good in some way. Yeah. And so we really appreciate, again, the courage it takes to share the story, and the reminder to all of us that the decisions we make do matter, and they do make an impact, and sometimes the wrong decision can change a life forever and the lives around. So we really appreciate Kim and Kevin. They also spoke at our mock crash that we did this year, and the high school students were able to hear their story and made a big impact, I think, on just this was right before prom season, a time that we have had the mock crash every other year for the last several years, and very important message to let them know that one decision can make a difference, and sometimes it's not a good
maybe it's a good decision or a bad decision will make a big difference.
Definitely, it impacts a lot of people.
How old was Caleb at that point?
Just turned 20. 20 days after his 20th birthday.
Oh man, that's a whole life ahead of him, a whole life to live at that point in time. Mm-hmm. Now you guys have tried to do things to help encourage better decisions, and I know recently I just talked about it. I hit on it to begin with. There was a huge motorcycle rally. I know I saw pictures of it. It's just unbelievable to see the number of people that turned out to help support you this year. Is it not? Yeah.
Well, our first one was in 2014, and we thought we'd just get some bikes together and promote organ donation, which we do now, and just remember not only Caleb's life, but Pioneers had a lot of loss to traffic accidents with our younger kids. And so we went together with another motorcycle group, Fire and Iron, and they helped us put this together, and it just grows and grows. And the towns have been so good. And
I saw you coming through Bryan, okay, and holy smokes. I had 2 or 3 people ask me, what was that went through, okay? So that at least has to make you feel good that have that many people helping and supporting with it.
Yes, it's the whole community. It's our whole county gets behind us. We have people come from all over. When it comes to the ride, and this year we had a 3-day event, it was incredible. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible at the amount of how close a small town is, and that's what it's all about. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cliche, it's Mayberry, but it's really, I mean, that's the way Pioneer, any small town is. Yeah. They rally around people, and they care for their own.
They really do, yeah. And most of them. I mean, most of them, whether they really know you or not, they because it's a small town, they know who you are. They knew who Caleb was. I'm sure they knew a lot of different things, and for them like that is wonderful. Yeah, Kim, you say that you're trying now to promote organ donations at this point in time now through your fund.
Yes, we are. We discovered the bittersweet reality of organ donation.
Yes.
When you turn 16, you mark that on your driver's license. You don't think anything about it. We just tell our kids that's what you do. So that's what Caleb did, and is so much more than putting that little box on there.
Yeah.
Because Caleb's gone,
But he's not.
but he's not.
Yeah, but he's not. And
He has enhanced the lives of 50 plus people. Eyes, tissue.
yeah,
They were able to use a lot.
wow.
And what Caleb gave somebody the gift of sight.
yeah,
He helped with research, his bones, his skin tissue, veins, everything. I mean, it was really like I said, it's a bittersweet thing, but it's also very comforting in a way that as long as we can keep this going, he's not gone. He's still keep his memory alive, and he's still with us.
yeah. I'll tell you, I feel so sorry, and my condolences to you guys for something like that.
Thank you.
I cannot, you know, I always used to say, I was a newsman early on in my career, and I didn't mind going out to something where an adult was hurt or killed or whatever. You know, a guy my age that went out and did something stupid, I'd think, oh, that's not a big deal. But somebody Caleb's age or younger, those were the tough stories to deal with because they had so much ahead of them, and you just wonder to yourself, why? You know, why in the world does something like that happen to somebody that young? We can't explain it, but you guys are doing some wonderful things, and I appreciate fighting through this difficult time and trying to make things better for other people. Yeah.
Well, if it can, we'll tell Caleb's story as long as we are able.
Yeah.
If it can just save one kid or one mom, it's
Yeah.
worth the story.
It is worth the story because, like Lieutenant Ashenfelder said, probably that call that you got from them or that notification that you got from those guys, the authorities there on the scene, that's the tough one. If somebody would have found him a little earlier and sighted him and put their seatbelt on him and got him home, that would have been a wonderful result.
I would have given anything to have him standing right beside
Yeah. Yeah.
Caleb's truck
You bet.
and writing him a ticket
You bet.
and making that difference. But you know, it wasn't meant to be. And if we can, like Kim said, if we can save one parent
Yeah.
from this, it's worth it.
No doubt. Kim and Kevin Oxender, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Our hearts go out for you. Whatever we can do to help as you continue on. I know we read a number of announcements, but you know, please feel free to get with us here, and we'll help you promote that from this point on too.
Thank
I'll
you.
give you one of those as well. Back to Peg Buddha here real quick. Peg, we do have a Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign, Peg, that you guys are starting this week, okay, through the Safe Communities Coordination that you guys do. Let's go over that just one more time. What are we trying to get people to be aware of here for the next 3 weeks?
Well, again, this is a national campaign, so it is all across the United States. We are obviously connected in here in Williams County with our local law enforcement mobilization. They'll be out in force, you know, looking for drunk driving. Obviously, some of the safe or tips I can maybe provide as far as, you know, being safe as a driver. And maybe even watching out for the other guy, but start with getting that seatbelt put on every time you get in the car, every trip. Remember, it's not okay to drink and drive. It is illegal. And, you know, designate a driver. Make sure you have a plan. And make sure that you make good decisions beforehand so that when you're in the mix of it, you know, you've already had a plan in place. And if you're out driving and you see someone that looks like they're not able to, you know, be safe on the road, you know, call local law enforcement and let them know that there is a drunk driver or someone's impaired. And just be wise. Be a friend, help others. If you see someone that's been drinking, you know, take their keys, make sure they get home safely, and just really help each other out. And Labor Day weekends, kind of that last, you know, fling of the season, and so you know, just to be really caring for other people and making sure that you care for them by your decisions and being responsible and don't drink and drive.
Very good. Peg, if somebody would like to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Well, I work for the Williams County Health Department, and so definitely can make a call there. The Williams County Health Department. Our phone number is 419-485-3141. Ask for Safe Communities, and just a way that we can impart as far as community involvement with our coalition. You know, we do invite people to become a part of that. We have great involvement with our first responders, our law enforcement, you know, the local community. Kevin and Kim have been part of that impact just in their being able part of some of our programming we've done. We just have a good community support, but we always welcome new members. So that would be a reason to give us a call. And then our safe communities is promoted through our social media there with the Williams County Health Department. It's another way to stay connected in.
Fantastic. Hey, Buta, thank you for all the work that you do. Thanks for bringing everybody in here today so we can talk about drive sober or get pulled over. And we look forward to having you back sometime.
All right.
Okay?
Well, I appreciate it so much, Jim, and just appreciate what you're doing here, getting the word out and giving us that platform to really, speak some truth and hope people will listen.
Yeah, we do too.
Thanks.
Thank you to both the Oxenders, Kim and Kevin, and also our folks from the Ohio State Highway Patrol today, Sergeant Mike McLean and Bob Ashenfelder, and all the great work they do. Just after 11 o'clock here on the Q, 96.5 FM.
3 decades, the all-new Q96.5.
Excellent job. Thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
And we'll be getting the link. We'll put it on our page, and
Okay.
they'll have a.
All right.
It'll be on YouTube somehow. I don't know. So again, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Kim, thank you.
Can I leave this here if you want
Yes,
to put it
please,
up
leave
somewhere
that.
or something?
I would love to. If you leave that, I'll get it out front and we'll talk about it. Thank you very much.
Now you can edit us and make us look good, right?
Yeah, man, no doubt about that. That's his job right there. He'll take 20 years off of us. How's that, except for me? I always get older and fatter looking whenever KB gets involved. How's that?
Thanks again.
Oh, hey, no problem. Thank you. Anything else that you have come up like that, holler at me, please, okay? This is what we're trying to do.
This went well. I'm pleased with it.
Good, thank you. Well, we'll get you a copy. These guys will get you a copy and we'll get everything going. How's that? Kevin, thank you. Sir, good to meet you. I wish it was under better circumstances. Ken, thank you. You bet. Anything that you guys, again, when you get anything going on throughout the year, if you got something going somewhere or whatever, okay? Feel free to pick up the phone and call me and let me know where you're at.
I grew up on the curve on 27,
Good deal.
north out
You
of
bet.
town.
See you guys.
Every year it's 1 or 2.
Bob, thank you, sir. You bet. Anytime.
Came through the windshield and
Appreciate
everything. My
you
brother and I
coming in.
very young
Don't
age.
forget those, do ya?
I would love that.
I tell you, that was with me with motorcycles. We had a dog went out in front of a motorcyclist in front of our house, and he skidded it out. He was so fortunate. He didn't have proper gear on, but
Okay, well, let me get
after that,
Quentin
I think
involved.
motorcycles
Okay,
are
hi,
cool,
Teresa,
but
how are
I
you?
just- I
I
can't
can't
do
do
it.
a motorcycle.
Come on in.
I can't.
I'm, the state
My brother and I, we
here
wrecked
for
so
you.
many bicycles on the road. I can't imagine being on a
Oh, I
big
know, and I'm a cyclist, so I mean, I've had a few wipes, you know.
Yeah.
Good, how are you?
So thank you for
No,
what you did here. for
Glad
sure.
to. We work with Jim a lot.
Yeah, I
back
can see
and forth.
that. Uh-huh.
It's a good platform instead of interviewing everybody 3 or 4 times to just come out here and just do it once and
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, thank you.
be done.
Okay, lost a little better tonight.
There you go. Done.
Everybody's leaving. It's just you.
Yep. I can get
What was that about?
The city out here speeders and I so we're over like a ticket campaign. Is all
Thank you.
This
We'll see you soon.
today.
What is it?
The drive sober, get pulled over, the click it ticket, the highway patrol.
What was these two here about?
These two were their son got killed.
Oh,
So they were the personal story behind
right, I got you.
You hear Caleb McLaughlin.
Okay.
They had a big motorcycle rally here a couple weeks ago in the city. They had just tons of motorcycles on.
Okay.
They had to have 100 motorcycles.
Wow.
Yeah. So kind of neat.
Yeah.
So and I apologize when I talked the other night. I got thinking and I didn't until I came in this morning. I went, oh,
No, don't worry about it.
I've got her
Probably
coming
it was
in.
way better. I had to go in and
Get some things going. Oh, crack that whip?
yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine.
No. And I'm really, it's like it's the thing I hate doing the most, but drives me nuts when I'm down on my hands and knees and they're talking.
Yeah.
Chit chat. It's awful.
It's crazy what these people are doing nowadays. I mean, the work ethic out of some of these folks is mind-boggling to me. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, we won't talk about that today. How's that? It's a story for a
You know,
whole
and
different
it's
time.
like I'm supposed to give special, you know, if they're pregnant, you know, I'm supposed to allow them to nap. And it was like,
Yeah. Come on, man.
no,
Doesn't work real well when you're trying to run a business, does it?
no, and I'm not, yeah. They maybe shouldn't work too much. Just not work as much.
Yeah. Looks like you probably do.
I should just did, but I know the station too well.
Here we go. Tavares here on the Q96.5 FM. Monday morning, we're busy. I told you had a lot of company coming in here today, and we do have company coming in all morning long, and I'm really delighted to have Teresa Maynard with me right at this point in time. Good morning, Teresa. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
It's good to have you in here because I think most people have heard a little bit about something you're doing downtown. But for a lot of them, they've not been down and joined you yet. But you've got Chorus downtown.
We do.
And that has been, I think, the buzz of the community here for the last couple of weeks. Well, maybe in the last couple of months, because from the first time when you guys got started down there, people kept saying, "Oh my gosh, what are they doing down there? What are they doing down there?" So explain to us a little bit what Chorus is downtown.
Well, the idea was that we could create a place downtown that maybe would be synergistic with some of the other things like Father John's, to be able to bring people to Bryan, create an entertainment district, but it's all the things that I love in my life. I mean, I hear that from a lot of people: coffee, and wine from around the world, and craft beer, and then also we have a great whiskey bar. But we have great flatbreads and food and music. So all the things I love, but we really, work on the highest quality of all of it, and I want to bring it all in one place with a great atmosphere.
And you have pulled that off from everything that I've been told right now. As I told you the other night, Kathy and I have not been down there yet, but we're going to get down there pretty soon.
Shame on you.
I know it is, but it's you sit there and there's so many. You know how that is. There's so many different.
There's so much to do.
And you need to be here, and you need to be there, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. But we're gonna come down because I love being able to go somewhere, sit down with either a beverage of my choice, whether it's coffee, beer, wine, or whiskey. And,
tea, hot chocolate, soda, we have it all.
All that stuff. And listen to live music, because there's nothing better in this world to me than live music.
Right.
Even bad live music is better than most things. How's that?
I'm not sure about that, but maybe.
Not saying that
it's everybody's interpretation, so it's art, and that's exactly how we see every element of Cora.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Teresa Maynard, my guest right now. Come back with me just a little bit, okay? Tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, you're just a kid. You're just a youngster, so it's.
I'm a young pup. I actually was 21 when I moved here to Bryan. I met my husband Kevin, who is, of course, a rock and roll guy from Love Street. Yeah. But from there, Kevin and I've been, we've moved all over really with his job. But in the meantime, I'm a social worker by trade. I have a degree in psychology and got into sales. My last 10 years really have been in pharmaceutical sales. I've owned my own business prior to that for about 13 years. But, we love to travel, and, I love my family, and I love, all those little things. So it's, for me, coming back here to Bryan, and for Kevin as well, is full circle for us. His family's here, my family's here, and our 3 grown kids came with us too. So to have all of us here in the community, and then to come back and then try to revitalize and be a part of Bryan again, we just want to be here as we wrap up our life, and have it, be what we want it to be. I wanted to have a where I can live, because that's where I spend a lot of my time.
Whenever you own a restaurant, you definitely live there, don't you?
Exactly.
There's no doubt about
Exactly.
that, 100%. It's the way that it is.
Yeah.
Born where?
So I was born in Michigan. I was born in Holt. Well, I actually was born in St. John's, but grew up in Holt, Michigan. Right. And I met Kevin in Hicksville, Ohio. So when I was right in college, I went to college at Olivet in Michigan.
Oh, gosh,
and then sort of moved south. My senior year of college, I commuted from Bryan to Olivet, which wasn't that bad of a thing. I worked at McDonald's with Chris Wicks. He was actually my boss at the time, right? Isn't that funny?
And you admit that?
I do, and it's so funny to be back in town now with Chris. Yeah. He and I, again, another synergy, which I just think is fantastic, because I don't sell retail wine. I want to work with him. He has a lot of the craft beer that we serve on tap. Yes. And so one of the great things is for people to be able to come to Cora, try a glass of wine that they wouldn't normally, or step outside. And then I send them down to Chris. I tell him, look, if you are coming in to buy a bottle while you're sitting there enjoying it's one thing, but if you want to take it home, go down and see Chris. You can buy it from him. And so we, working together that way, I think there's so much that we can all help each other with. Yeah, but Chris is a great guy.
He is a great guy. Yep. I'm kidding. You may be listening
it's
to
just
this
funny.
Right now, so that's the exact reason why I had to.
It's funny to go full circle like that.
It is funny to go full circle like that, isn't it, huh?
Yep.
Well, we're happy that you're here, because it's a wonderful addition downtown.
Bryan is really such a great town. I mean, there's so much here I don't think people even realize that they have. Yes. When we've lived all over, when we came from Hamilton, Ohio, which was Cincinnati, and there was hardly anything in the downtown. In the 3 years that we were there, they built that up in that time, and it was really hopping downtown. Here, we came back here, and there's like all kinds of boutiques on one side of the square that are just amazing. Even Peebles, what a great thing to have in the community, to have, this clothing store still there. Yes. We've got comic book store. We've got an ice cream store going in, the theater up and running. I mean, I don't think people really know what is in their downtown.
Yeah.
And even I've talked to some people, I won't name names, Mike Sharon.
Okay.
But told me, he's like, oh, I admit I'm not, like, it's just like being aware of what's around you and knowing. And I love Mike. Sorry, Mike. But
no, Mike's a great guy, too. I love Mike, too.
But it is like just, I think that's common. You live here for a long time and you get kind of status quo. And now it's like, you guys have such a great downtown. And Bryan used to be one of the 100 best places to live. We still have that magazine, and it's just, we want that back. And I think everyone else does. I do think this is a good time. I feel it. It's in the air.
That's wonderful, because there have been efforts in the past to try to revive the downtown, and it was probably 20 years ahead of its time at that point too. When they were trying to do it, and everybody's really into it and wanting to do it. But it does seem like this next generation that just moved in here recently. Okay, the younger folks that are out there have embraced that downtown, embraced the opportunities that are down there.
Yeah.
And for anybody to sit here and say, "Oh, there's nothing to do in downtown Bryan anymore," they just haven't been down there in a while.
Well, I will tell you this. When I first lived here, I was really young, and I thought, who am I to, I just felt like I was this little teeny fish in this big city. And now we come back and I think I am just one person, but one person can make a difference.
Yes.
And I've seen that with Kevin.
Yes.
Just one person being a part of that. Just the movement to bring in more industry, myself, but because of talking to my customers, I had a lady come up and she wants a dog park.
Okay.
And she's right. She said, I talked to you and I want to be that person. I want to be the change. One person can make a difference. So she is now going to connect with some city folks and really push the element of a dog park nearby. But it doesn't have to be, you might be out there feeling like, what can you do? Look, we got someone who just created a group and they just had a huge thing over at the granary. We can, one person, so if you want to be a part of it, you just have to have an idea, have to come somewhere and tell the idea, and then you have to be the movement. Yeah. And so all of us belong here and we're all responsible. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, wonderful. Teresa Maynard is with me right at this point in time. Teresa, we need to step away, do some news, pay some bills. You're going to hang with me for a bit, aren't
Absolutely.
You not? We've got to talk about what's going on. You've got a grand opening coming up and all those kind of things. So we'll get to that.
We're excited about
when we get back here on the Q 96.5
awesome.
FM. Cool. Very good. Off to a good start.
Good.
Well, again, I appreciate you being able to come in and be part of this thing. It's always fun. We always have a good time, and I try to bring people like yourself in, like those guys. We're trying to do old-fashioned radio, quote unquote, anymore.
Right. Oh yeah.
For the 4 hours, I'm on from 9 to 1, and we play classic hits. So you got music.
Right.
You got commercials, obviously, a little news, but then to be able to bring people in and start to talk about some of the things that are going on.
No, it's great.
I think it's been a really nice
great.
situation because it brings different people in. All of a sudden, Teresa's going to be here. I had half a dozen people with the group that came in before. What's your radio station? How can I get you? Tune in. I get you on Tune In. Okay, not a problem.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy right now who's listening to this whole thing. He's coming back from Green Bay. Lives in Cincinnati. He listens to us all the time. Okay.
That's so good.
But it's just a lot of fun.
No, I think it's a great way to
get
people listening.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Have you been? I just turned down the sound. Happy with everything so far? Totally off mic. I'm not recording anything or anything like that. where you're at right now, they know where Shuck's Jewelry used to be. 'Cause
Right.
that was here for like a million years.
It was.
Yeah. And then when Skip and his brother decided that they were going to retire and close everything up a couple of years ago,
Yep.
that's the building that basically you and Kevin took over.
That's correct. Yep, it's 120 South Lynn, for anyone who doesn't know the exact address.
Okay.
It's in between Creative Minds and the wedding store, formerly the wedding store.
Okay.
So it's that building, and of course it's the one that we just renovated. So anyone who goes down there wants to go to the theater, you can see it right there. But yeah, it was a great building to get, for sure.
The buildings downtown Bryan are just
Yeah.
spectacular. The number of them are just, it's exactly what you see on HGTV.
Absolutely.
Or any of the
It
channels
is.
when you see downtowns and
Yeah.
people taking buildings like that.
Yeah.
Why that one? I mean, did that one? There were a couple other buildings, I'm sure, that
Yep.
for sale downtown.
We did, and we looked at them.
Yes.
When we started this whole project years ago, I mean, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we started thinking about it, even when we lived in other places. Finding the right location is always the key. And, we needed something where we could have the back patio, because that was really important to have that back Italian garden. So finding a place, even when you think about that area, where else has like a back area that we could transform? But that building has a lot of character to it, and when we were going through it, when you start peeling off the plaster, you start looking at the character, you saw the tin. So there's some great history in that building, especially when we bought it. It still had the old smoke ovens, because back the very first thing that was in there was Stroh's Meat Market, and he used to smoke his own meat. So in the back garage, well, we now have it called the lounge, there was a double oven, brick, had huge kettles in it that they would smoke the meat in, and or cook the meat or whatever he did back there. And so you think, from there, all the cool history that would go from there. So when you turn and look into our building from that room, there are 3 large brick, beautiful doorways that we've uncovered. And so, we knew that brick had to extend in. And so, that was one of the things. Upstairs, too, above our building, is almost in mint condition, the woodwork, because it was a law office when it was Stroh's. There was a law office upstairs, but then, Toby Gorney or the Gorneys bought it and stored stuff up there. And so really, it's really just been storage. So not a lot of abuse and use, although it used to be back when it was the law officer was a residence, so that's still residential. So we are going back to that. We're going to make it a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. We're completely renovating, brand new kitchen, bathrooms, but with the old pocket doors intact. We're trying to do very little of the actual structure changes, but putting in what we need to. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
it does.
it's going to be awesome for a younger person, maybe in their 30s, 40s, that really wants to walk and hang downtown. Maybe they work downtown, or just want to live downtown. It's going to be a great addition for them. So it's all of those little characters, and the basement is super cool too. Even technically probably not a full basement, but it is. It's really the whole place. We found like 6 barrels down there, and just has some stories. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons we love the building.
There was a lot of crazy things that happened in Bryan back 100 years or so ago. And your husband, we haven't mentioned this at all, Kevin Maynard, who is basically Teresa's husband, who's the utility director now in Bryan. And also, I think if you're on Facebook or whatever, Kevin's always posting history, what happened today in history in Williams County. So he's a history buff. When I bought the building, ironically, at 120 West High Street, so we shared a number there a little bit. In the basement were a bunch of old liquor jugs, because they had to be doing with some stills here at some point in time. The 3rd floor had all the door. Every door had a little window to it, so you could peek through and see who's there, wanted to come in, because they claimed it was a pool hall at one time. And so it was all opened up. And been in there for years and years and years. But the character of these buildings, and the stories that you hear once you start to investigate a little bit.
And I know this isn't true, but down when you went down our stairs in our basement, they had the old boiler system, and hanging on the wall were, I think they're tire chains on a leather strap.
Okay.
But you know, it was just creepy. You know, they got the stakes and these things are hanging there with the old boiler system where you're throwing in, you know, and now is my wine cellar. But, you know, we have a whole strip of theater chairs. I don't know how old they are, but they've been down there for a while. So I keep thinking, man, maybe they had like prohibition meetings down there in this place. I mean, it's a really kind of a cool room, but yeah, it's cool. And to think about what went. We've reused as much as we can of that. So the old brick from the stoves, we've made into the fireplace. The old tin ceiling that we pulled down to make the firewall, we've actually used as the backdrop for our bookshelves. And as much as we could reuse and maintain that character, we have tried to do. Like when we pulled the plaster off the brick walls and exposed this beautiful brick, we really just left it. So you see the staircase, the original staircase that went upstairs, you see shadow is still on the brick. It's really cool. Now the staircase is on the outside of the building. Sure. We share an easeway with Siebenauers, but it's really, the history is still there.
Yeah, yeah. We're talking about Cora's in downtown, Brian, and your grand opening.
Yeah. Yes, tomorrow it is. Oh, it is. We're getting ready for it. So tomorrow at 7 a.m. we open, and we're doing dollar drinks all day, frozen, hot, or ice. So our coffee bar, you can get a regular size drink for $1. And I have had a lot of people ask me if they, like, let's say up at Parkview, they have a group that wants to come in and get for $4, $6. Yes, they can come in. They can get as many as they want. Okay. Because it's $1 drink all day. There's, you know, that's what it is. But, you know, we're giving away lots of cool things. We have coffee koozies, and we have, you know, coasters. We made commemorative coasters. We're having wine tasting at night from 5 to 9. Our wine expert's going to be there, and so you can buy a punch card for $15. You get 5 tastings, and they're off our menu. We got face painting from 9 to 11. We have free samples of food and hors d'oeuvres and bands from like 3 until 10, or music anyways, and yeah, just lots of fun stuff going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And so anybody listening to us right now needs to get to Cora's at some point in time tomorrow. What time do you close at night?
So we close at 10.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, you know, who knows? We might still be going. John Reikley is playing from 8 to 10. So you know how he is. He just, you know, and Tina May's before him. And then my son Nathan is playing before him. So, you know.
Yeah, I'd say.
And whoever else wants to come jam.
I'd say it could go till a little later.
You know John. He's like, we got time for 2 more.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be so much fun.
No doubt about that. Teresa Maynard, my guest right now. We've got to go back to a couple of selections here, do a little music on the cue, because I want to get into your menu and some other things.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you hang till the top of the hour with me?
I can, absolutely.
All right, Teresa Maynard's with me right now. We're talking about downtown on the Q 96.5 FM. Okay, good. Yeah, they'll play a little late, I'm sure.
Oh my goodness. So you know John and Chuck Mock.
Yep.
So Pat, their mom, just texted me because John, I've asked her to give me a guitar from Chuck Sr. to put up as like a commemorative thing. We'll pull a plaque from him. Okay. And she just told me that John told her which guitar to bring. So she just left Cora and gave it to one of the employees. But her brother is bad. If possible, I was planning on coming up to Cora tomorrow. So yeah, she brought up the guitar. That's super cool.
That's great.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
It's all coming together, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. It's yeah, it is. I think we haven't, all the decor. So Chris Cullis is such another cool thing. He's working with me on these prints that he went to Ethiopia, and one of the beans that we have in our coffee is from Ethiopia. Okay. And he gave me a series of prints from this woman that he captured making coffee, roasting the beans down to where the last cup is. So we're going to put the series up. And so, yeah, that'll be cool. It's not going to be ready by tomorrow, but we have lots of things like that we're going to do.
You got plenty of time to take care of some of those things, though, too,
Yeah.
You really do. You want everything to be done by tomorrow, but reality is you can't do everything you want to do. And hopefully you're just going to be around here for a long, long time, so you can just continue to improve and grow and change as the years go on. Yeah, that'd be great.
We have two bandits. Like, I should talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, okay.
So 2 Bandits beer, we can't keep that. Or Father John's makes probably our best seller, our light blonde, and we can't keep them in stock. Like, I'm constantly calling them, well, you got to bring me more beer. Bring me more. And Mark Young, you know him, is like, we just brought you 2 on Friday, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I went through it. You know, so that's rough. It's like they're expanding. I say you're expanding because of us. You got to supply us beer.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. They make me laugh.
He's a great guy too. Another guy.
Exactly.
Couldn't imagine putting something like that in Hicksville, you know.
Right. Well, actually, he's really an inspiration. When we were doing this, we went there and we're like, oh my gosh, look at this has happened. I mean, you couldn't even get a seat. And he immediately talked to us, and, you know, he really inspired a lot of stuff my thoughts on stuff.
Okay.
So if somebody can do that in Hicksville, it can be done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, the naysayers, nah, you know, I don't listen. I think people today love craft beer,
Yes, they do.
and when they don't love craft beer anymore, I'll put Budweiser on the tap.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So people have drank beer since the beginning of time.
Yes, they have.
I'll just put the next thing in.
So where did your liquor license come from? Whose
It was.
license did you?
They don't do that in Williams County.
Oh, okay.
There was a liquor license left, and I bought the last one.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. So in Williams County, my understanding is the health department.
Yeah.
I don't know if the health department. I don't know why, but
Okay.
I don't think you can buy
Okay.
someone's license.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It goes back to
Goes
the county,
back.
goes back, and then they
Yeah.
reissue it at that point.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it belongs to the state. But I'm not sure why the health department's involved. But
Okay.
I don't think that you can in Williams County. I don't think they allow you to buy someone else's liquor license,
Okay.
which makes sense because you have to go through all of this, you know, checks and balances of, you know, your background and all of that. I don't know how you could, but maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
It's interesting.
There's a wait list for beer.
Okay.
So that was the thing. I thought, well, I might as well just buy the full license, you know.
Okay. Okay.
And so I bought it a year ago
Oh gosh. Okay.
because I didn't want to take the
Yeah.
chance. Yeah.
Because when they're gone, they're gone.
They're gone.
And then you're done.
Yep,
Then
and
you really
they're-
are
right.
doomed at that point.
Right.
It's just going to be a coffee house. That's
Right. That's right. I'm like, okay. Yep. Yeah, and then you have to each site in Bryan, because Bryan is a wet dry county, or Williams County is a wet dry county.
right.
So every site is different. Like Creative Minds might be completely wet. You can have liquor all day long. Mine might be dry.
Okay.
Every site. So when each site applies, they have to do a check and find out what the vote was back in Prohibition. What did they vote my site?
Okay.
And then, so we did that, and we're dry on Sunday except for beer.
Okay.
So I can serve beer on Sunday, but we can change that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Grand Plaza did.
Yeah. Okay. And here's a guy who who barely speaks the language.
Right.
Okay. Alberto's a
Right.
great guy.
Yeah.
But
He does barely.
Yeah.
I
He
know.
just there are
rough.
days when you sit there and go,
I know it.
is it really sinking in, or is it?
He actually
sinking in?
hired an attorney.
Okay, yeah.
I get all kinds of calls all day about that to do it, and I don't see why you need to do that. I think if you just put it on the ballot, people would vote it through.
Yeah.
Personally,
Oh, I do too. I
it's
think
not
we would
something
now.
I need to pay $10,000 to have someone do.
No, I don't think so either. I think you just need to get it on the ballot.
That's what I think, yeah.
It'll work just
Yeah.
fine. There's no doubt. I agree. Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, I want to get into. Is there any significance to the Cora name at all? Did that come somewhere? I figured
It's my granddaughter.
Okay, I figured it had to come from somebody. Okay?
Yep.
And that name, that's just a unique enough
Yep.
name that it wasn't like, okay, that's fine.
It's beautiful. I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a beautiful
It
name.
is.
But it's,
Yeah, and people always
had
say
to come somewhere.
Cora's. They do put an S there, but it's not. It's Cora Brew and Wine Bar.
Okay.
So that's all right though. I mean, we do say come down to Cora's. We do say that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I got you. Well, it becomes a possessive. I think
It does.
If we had Lou Pimpleton here, she could tell you exactly how that works. With
Yeah, it's
14
everything becomes
master's degrees
right.
English.
It's like it does become possessive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Cool. All right, we're going back after this one.
When are they playing? August 16th. Huh.
Toto here in the Q 96.5 FM. 15 minutes before the hour of 12 o'clock, and I have Teresa Maynard with me right now, of Cora, downtown. Let's get into that name, okay? Because you and I we chatted about that off mic just a little bit. Everybody calls it Cora, as I know. What's the official name of your establishment?
So it's Cora Brew House and Wine Bar.
Okay.
And Cora is actually my granddaughter.
Okay.
So she was born on July 13th, 2017.
Okay.
And we opened for the very first day on July 13th, 2018. So on her first birthday, we opened Cora.
Oh, what a wonderful.
So, and she's up there all the time. Most of the customers that have come in there have seen Cora. She is just the cutest, smiling little girl, and she runs through there. We have toys in the back, so she pretty much owns the place when she comes in, you know.
Well, it's
that's
her
how
place,
it is. That's
man.
right.
She's
exactly.
got the name on the sign.
She's pretty famous. People go, "Is that Cora?" It's like it is, and she's just so lovable, so it's hard not to.
Yeah.
Oh, she's cute.
Oh, well.
I mean, I'm kind of partial, but.
Well, but that's okay. But kids that age are normally pretty cute too. I agree. And for your own, for grandma, she's really cute. I understand.
She's really cute. I know, and for Grampy too.
Oh, I bet so. They call her Grampy. Is that
Grampy and Grammy? I know
there you
it
go.
is. I'm okay with that.
Was it hard to deal with that the very first time you heard that at all?
Not at all,
No?
because my daughter. Her husband was in the military, so I was the her partner, and he came home just to have the baby, and then he had to go back out. He was home like 2 days, so it was my daughter and I, really till October, taking care of Cora. So I was the second one in there, and it's just been. I didn't care what she called me.
Yeah.
She just was such a joy in our life, and she still, of course, she is. I miss her terribly because the last month I've pretty much. Haven't been able to see her, but they bring her up there all the time for me to see, and I love that so much. So
makes it a little difficult when you're opening up an establishment like this, doesn't it?
I know. Yes.
You're open 7 days a week too, which absolutely mind-boggled me when I first saw that.
Heard that. Yeah.
Why 7 days?
Well, because Sunday we had requests from some high school students really that wanted a place to be able to study and come up and do things, and so there isn't any place open. It was like, where do we go? And even I struggled with that at 3 o'clock when you want to have a business meeting, you want to meet with people, you couldn't go anywhere. At that time. And so we needed to make sure we were open all day. But then on Sunday, if you're going to come in from out of town, and I think this was part of it too, I want to, you want to stop and have coffee, do a little shopping. And so really, I still got to get the downtown square on the bandwagon of, look, we want people to come in. You got to stay consistent. We want you to be open during the day. It's hard to be open on Sunday right now. I mean, we might have 10 customers come through the door. Yes. But the biggest thing is that we are open from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. And, people can come. And so it's consistency. We want them to know we're there. We are doing some tournaments, though. On Sunday, we want to get some of those high school kids up there, give them coffee. We're going to give away prizes. So first tournament we're doing is a Cards Against Humanity tournament this Sunday.
Okay.
And then we're doing some euchre tournaments and fun things like that because we've heard that that's what they want to do. And so they can come in and take over. We've got plugs that plug in their phones, and you know, all free internet and, you know, great music. My son's got a special playlist, and so really we want them to feel comfortable here, to be able to go and just take over the lounge, and you know, anytime really.
Yeah. Now in the morning too, you have a breakfast.
We do. So a little bit about the menu that we have. So we have someone that comes in at 6 and actually bakes our pastries fresh that day.
Okay.
We use a dough from Bell Pastry, and they import European butter, and so it is like a to me, it's the closest thing. Our croissants are from Paris. You know, it's that crispy outside with that real fluffy inside. And so we bake those fresh. And on the weekends, we have cinnamon rolls that we have, or that we bake because our baker works during the week, but they're great too. So yeah, that's our morning. And then during lunch we have, or any day, we do stuffed croissants. So we take those. We have a Gouda swirl, which is so good, that we have we make ham sandwich out of, and then we do turkey and Swiss. We have a chicken salad. We're going to be a roast beef and sweet onion. And then we have the flatbreads that we also do. We have a buffalo chicken, a barbecued pork, a mozzarella, or the margarita pizza. Now, the actual thing about that flatbread is I go to the market, the farmer's market and St. John's, and they give me fresh, locally grown tomatoes. And the basil we get is from, Father John's. They grow it over there, and I have a connection. They kind of bring me some basil. It is so fresh. It tastes like you're eating a garden right now. It's so great. Oh, wow. So we have that, and we have at night some tapas board. But I think the biggest thing is now.
I'm throwing caution to the wind, and I'm going to go in.
Sort of.
Well, but I've got to do. You got to add them all up here, okay? I got to do a flatbed pizza somehow. I've got to do dessert.
Right.
I'm going to have a beer, a craft beer.
It's all the yumminess.
Whatever.
That's true.
So I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to step away for that day, okay?
Yeah.
And then go back on it the next day.
Well, here is the great thing is that we do have gluten-free